All right, Michelle, I'm ready.
Ready for what?
Ready to flip a home.
You can't even flip a pancake.
All right, maybe so, but I know someone who's pretty good at it, and he's going to show us the challenges and rewards of home flipping.
Let's start with the light bulb. It's out in the bathroom. Put those down.
I can do that.
My name's Michelle, and I'm a longtime realtor from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And I'm her husband, Mark. I've spent more than 40 years as a TV news anchor and reporter,
Together, we've started a podcast called Let's Talk,
where we dive deeper into everyday topics that matter to you.
and we have fun doing it.
So, what are we waiting for?
Let's talk.
I think it's safe to say the last time most of you saw this guy, he was wearing a suit and tie, he was clean shaven, and he was doing the news, came into your house every night doing the news. Now look at you, Charles Illy.
I'm just going to one house.
You're a mess.
Yeah, this is the work look.
That's funny.
I haven't shaved since I shot your story with you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So what's this all about? You're into, since you've left Channel 8 3 years ago, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been basically having some fun, and then, about 3-4 months at a time doing one of these, taking 3-4 months off and doing something else. But it's just something to fill time. You know, you get retired and you think, boy, I'll have all this time. You have a lot of time. So you go work out in the morning. Now it's 10 o'clock. Now what? You kind of need
I
something
love
to
it.
retire.
I can't wait.
To retire too. Yeah.
You can't wait. I
Mark
can't
won't
wait.
let me retire, ever.
No, it's the other way
A
around.
well-employed wife is a great asset. Yeah.
So now you're into home flipping. You left Channel 8. Let's talk about your career first in journalism, broadcasting. How many years, where were you, and how long were you at Channel 8?
Gosh, I started in '73 at a talk news radio station in Cleveland, where I grew up. Very much like KRMG, but off the wall. I mean, WKRP in Cincinnati. It was crazy. Then I was fortunate enough to get a TV job in Columbus. '74, worked my way up to weekend anchor. '78 went to Atlanta for 2 years as a reporter, as a live reporter. Then my boss from Columbus hired me in Dallas for 5 more, and then came here we did weekends there, and then came here for a Monday through Friday job. And
When
it
was
stuck.
that?
That was '84. So I was here '84 through 2019.
Right.
Most people say that was too long.
No.
No, it's comfortable. That's good.
So you retired in 2019, and then you decided to get into flipping homes. How did that come about?
Well, I've always tinkered with houses because you work the night shift. You do it now. You work the night shift. You want to go play golf or whatever, but all your buddies are working. So I would kind of slow motion flip the houses I lived in. Take the ugliest thing and work on it. So I learned a few, kind of advanced intermediate do-it-yourselfer skills, which you can apply here. I don't do the heavy stuff. I don't set granite. I don't do heavy plumbing or heavy electric. But I can do a little trim carpentry. I can hang electric fixtures.
Don't get any ideas.
Yeah, which is 90% of the work. So over time, I picked up some little skills, which I've been applying and learning more about the hard way.
For sure.
Okay, before we get into what you're doing with this house and your other 4 houses there, I did a piece on you with your old station, News Channel 8, where I work now, about what you're doing. Let's take a look at that, and we'll talk about it on the other side. For Charles Ely, it's a race against time.
That's the one, Mike. We got this.
He and his buddy Mike Rose are working hard and fast to renovate Ely's house before interest rates go up.
Interest rates are going up, so I want to get it on the market. I need to get the work done. It's time.
This is Ely's 5th property to buy, renovate, and sell, better known as home flipping, since he retired 3 years ago. And yes, you're right, it's the same Charles Ely who came into your home with the nightly news for decades as an anchor and a reporter for News Channel 8.
Good afternoon. The news starts now. It's 4 o'clock.
Now, instead of reading the news or reporting from the latest crime scene, he's pounding nails, sawing countertops, and tearing out old stuff. When you were doing the news for decades, there's no manual labor.
Well, but the newscast it goes, whew. This one I get done, I can say, look, there's a finished product. It's not out in the universe someplace. I mean, you can actually see the results of your labor.
In recent years, buying a home, fixing it up, and then quickly putting it back on the market has become a way for investors to make a relatively quick profit. But as more people are flipping homes, many are finding they're making less of a profit. Adam Data reports more homes were flipped late last year than any time since 2006, but profits were down from the year before. There are several factors to explain why home flippers are working more for less, and we'll use Ely as an example. First off, homes cost more to buy. His latest flip, a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1-story in East Tulsa, cost him about 45% more than his first investment 3 years ago.
Well, the first one was on the next block. My memory is it was 90,000. This one was 129.
Same size.
Roughly equivalent.
Another factor, the cost of building materials is also up. He showed me a piece of lumber that's doubled in price.
It comes from New Zealand. $24 a board, which is roughly probably twice what it was 2 years ago. So there's $150 in 2 door frames. It's insane.
Then there are the lingering supply chain issues that have been plaguing the construction industry throughout the pandemic. Ely ordered a new front door last October. Nearly 5 months later, after told there were problems in China with materials, he gave up and canceled the order.
It shouldn't take 4 months to make a door from wood with parts from China. I mean, we don't have any wood in America.
And we've all heard about the great labor shortage. Good luck in calling someone out to help.
My electrician, I've been trying to get him here for a month. He's been twice for a half hour to do just enough to keep me going because he's got so much other work. It's like a Bigfoot sighting if the electrician shows up.
Ely says flipping homes is hard work. He calls it a big puzzle, tearing apart old homes and putting the pieces back where they belong. Despite all the challenges, he does make a profit.
It hasn't been a ton of money, but it's been worthwhile. So up until this point, I'm satisfied. I'll let you know if I'm satisfied with this one when it gets sold.
But less of a profit if he can't get it done soon.
You got to get it all done. And with interest rates going up next month, I got to get it all done.
The one thing I pick up on that is what you do is hard work.
Oh yeah, it is. And now, nice thing is, as a retired guy, I can do it as I please. My dream was 10 to 4, 5 days a week. And if I want to take the day off, I take the day off. But with the interest rate situation, it's become 7 days.
Right.
8, 9, 10 hours a day.
You got to
Right.
hurry.
Yeah.
Pull up that microphone a little bit there, so we up to your mouth and yeah, right there.
Sorry. I never had any technical
Cinch it
skills.
down there. Well, you don't have technical skills, but you have skills here, and
For
you've had
sure.
that pretty much your whole life. Then I imagine.
I kind of stumble through, to tell you the truth. I mean, you look at a problem, and like it's really interesting because everything is a dilemma. This room we're standing in, there was paneling in some places, so when you're going to put the doorway in, the two sides don't match. When the door jamb goes in, they don't match, and now you've got a puzzle to figure out.
Yeah.
And nothing is level, nothing is square.
While we're talking, those watching this, if you're, you can see what's going on. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, what's going on behind us right now?
Now, the guys are setting the granite in the kitchen and the bathrooms, and there was a mismeasure, so it doesn't go under the tile. It's now going on the top of the tile, kind of pressing up against the tile, and hopefully that works out.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Michelle has approved the transaction.
I said, no problem.
She looked at it and said it would not.
Okay.
My wife won't yell at me.
Right.
Really?
Robbie will
You
be
hear
fine.
that?
Robbie is
Okay.
Robbie is the design department.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Okay.
She's the design department. That's the only time we ever argue. Excuse me, just a second.
So in that piece, there were 4 challenges that you're facing right now as a home flipper, and the first one was home prices are going up.
Oh,
They've
yes.
gone up. How, and that's affected this home.
Well, literally, we compared the house, which is literally on the next block. This one is roughly $40,000 more to start with. It was in a hair better shape, but not great shape. There was, I spent 2 weeks just fixing the outside of the porch we're standing on, or the addition we're standing on. So it needed a lot of work. But as long as in the end the sales price works out with the purchase and what we have in it, I've got every penny I set aside to put in it already, and so this is paid for. But,
This is your 5th one. Do you think you won't get as much profit out of this one?
I'm not sure till it sells, because the one next door sold for a very high price, and it doesn't have nearly as much done to it as this one.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful, but I also haven't run my final numbers in terms of all I've got into it, because I don't want to discourage myself before I'm
Right.
finished.
Right.
So it's got to get done, and I'll have it done, and it'll be clean and it'll be updated. But I'm not. I'm a little afraid that what I'm going to find is depressing. So I'm going to get the work done, and then we'll see.
Nah.
But I've done very well on the first 4. Went well.
Right.
I have no complaints whatsoever. And that's in some ways it's a little bit of a gamble. You pays your money and you takes your chances. And if you come up short, my agent has a guy who spent a fortune and a long, long time working on a house, and he ended up with $500.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So you're saying home flipping is a gamble to
Oh,
begin
absolutely it is. It is you put your capital up. The money that's in this house is not in the stock market, is not earning money, so you have the lost opportunity there. And so you got to hope that you make good decisions, you make smart decisions economically as possible, and that when you're done, people will say, "Oh, I like this product. Let's buy it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been done very well so far, but
Yeah.
the realities have changed. So it's going to be interesting when
It's
it
all
finishes.
timing. It is. It's all timing.
with. Right. As a realtor, you know that
Oh,
more
yes.
than anybody else.
100%, especially right now. Yeah.
So number 2, the first home prices going up, building materials have also gone up, and you showed in that story
Brutal.
there a good example of that with the pieces of lumber.
The floor we're standing on, we raised the floor of this addition because our appraiser tells me that unless the floor is level with the rest of the house, it won't be counted as square footage. So there's almost 300 square feet of footage here that we acquired, but it cost there's enough wood under here to build a boat. And the
Right.
same thing in the sunken living room. I thought, well, it's cheaper than concrete. Well, it was cheaper than concrete, but not by much.
So that's coming out of your profits.
Oh, absolutely. And
right?
and you walk in this house, you do not know that this floor was raised and that floor was raised. It's
Right.
invisible money.
Number 3, if I can recall, let's see, home prices going up, building materials. What was the other one? I know number 4, we'll go back there, was the great, as they're working behind
Excuse
us,
me.
the great labor shortage in trying to get somebody
yes.
out here. You got workers right now, but you talked about the electrician.
Oh yeah, I have found some really good people, a good plumber, a good electrician who do good work and do fair prices, but they're in such demand. My electrician has been in twice and worked about 20 minutes just to move enough stuff so I can continue working, and hopefully I'm going to get him here this week. I'm hoping because I want to be on the market as soon as possible.
Yeah, because they got to go to the next project.
Yeah, the plumber's coming tomorrow, so we'll actually have water turned on, toilets that flush and sinks that run water. You paint something and then you realize, oh, I don't have any water.
Gosh.
So it goes in a plastic bag, it goes home and gets rinsed out there.
Yeah.
You mentioned, the next project. Is there
Yeah.
another project?
I'm going to take the summer off, lose some weight, get in shape, go do some fishing, do some biking. And then I think in the fall we'll look at another property, and I think I may switch to rentals because it will take some of the question marks out of the cost process. You'll have 15 years to roll those costs into a project and let somebody else help you pay for it.
Right.
So what would your advice be to those who are in home flipping, and then we'll get to those maybe wanting to get into home flipping?
I wouldn't dare advise anybody who's in it because they probably know more than I do. But for someone who's sitting out there thinking about it, first thing is you must buy it right. You must have a good idea of what your costs are going to be. I put in an air conditioner, a whole HVAC system. It was $1,000 more than the previous one. You got to have that coming in. I did not properly calculate the lumber costs, but
Well, you couldn't. You
yeah,
couldn't because the prices have gone up.
But I
Yeah.
knew it was risk. So you have basically you really have to be careful, go slow, think it through. The jobs that you're doing, make sure the job you're doing doesn't create 2 more jobs by damaging or
Did it
changing
wrong.
something you have to fix later. Moving one piece of trim can change the next 5 pieces of trim. So it has to be done with caution. You have to do in Tulsa. You see the California flipping shows. Oh, we made 500 grand. Well, here in Tulsa, you pretty much have to have really cheap labor or do most of it yourself. My kind of business model is I'm a retired guy. I've got time. I can afford to paint. I've got a buddy who helps. I help him on other things. So. You got a roller? Okay. It's not something just jump into for the fun of it. You really got to think it through. And there's a lot of work. It's surprising how much work is on floors and ladders. I mean, it's every time I turn around, it's like, yeah, that knee's reminding me I need to get down on that floor again. So it's you have to go in very carefully. And another thing is you don't change things that don't need to be changed. You fix
I've
things,
heard that before.
You fix things that are fixable. Behind us here is a wall where there was a through the wall air conditioner. Well, so basically I filled the hole and patched it. I didn't do anything more than was necessary to make that disappear. The good things in the house that can be changed, can be painted, redone. The cabinets are all original. They just have a good solid coat of paint on them, and we'll change the hardware. But if you talk about putting new cabinets in a whole kitchen, that changes the equation. So it's careful, and it is hard work. I mean, it is. I work till I'm tired every day, and I go home and I become a zombie.
Michelle, as a realtor, once Chuck is done with all this and he puts it on the market, should this go pretty quickly?
Oh, yeah. He knows. He'll have 30 offers.
Well, next door had 21,
Yeah.
and it is not quite as newly done as this one.
Yeah.
So is the key putting it up at the right price, that you don't go way too high that you won't get anybody interested?
We have looked at the neighborhood average, what the sales have been, the houses that have closed, and then we will maybe look at that and maybe add 2,000-3,000 for negotiating purposes, and then hope that of course, it's been a different world where many offers have been coming in above asking. So you hopefully we'll price it at where my costs are.
Yeah.
And anything above that.
I
will
think
be
it looks
gravy.
great. I think
Well,
you're
thank you.
gonna make some money.
It had some warts when we started, and I think the warts are less visible now. Yeah.
Pretty.
And your younger self, if you had a choice to get into this career, construction, maybe home flipping, instead of journalism, what would you do?
I think I would have done it the way I've done it, because I kind of as I mentioned, I kind of slow motion flipped the houses I was in. I did added value as I went. We moved into a place. What's the ugliest thing in this place? Fix it. 2 weeks later, okay, the windows look ugly. Let's do something about that. So I've done that over time, and I've enjoyed that. I like playing with my hands. I like to see the finished product. I think I would have done the TV and then basically done what I've done, because for me, it's not something where you'd have that. You need it. We've got kids in school and so forth. Tuition is not necessarily a constant stream of income.
Right.
Yeah, you mentioned a piece there about in what I'm doing, you used to do with the news business. The newscast is over. You basically tear it up. There's nothing
It's
really
out in space.
Out in space. But here you have something to show for it,
Absolutely.
don't you?
Funny. I will watch the news today and think, because I was always real intense about doing my stories. I've got to do this. I'm going to get this the way I wanted it. And I watch one on TV now. It's like, whoosh, it's gone. I said, I just grind all day to get that story done. And whoosh.
Yep.
Do you ever go by your other 4 houses and go, I did that?
Yes, but I try not to, because they don't necessarily. The people who have them don't necessarily keep them the way you left them.
I knew you were going to say that. It's true. It's true.
Out of your control.
Yeah, it's not mine anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles Ely, thank you very much for
My
this.
pleasure. Good to see you
Picking
guys.
your
Always.
brain about home flipping, and good luck with this one. It's almost done.
Almost. It'll be on before the 15th, when the Federal Reserve raises their rates. But of course, they don't really raise the mortgage rates; they just create the atmosphere. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there'll be a for sale sign out before that, maybe 10 days.
Of course, when we're talking about interest rates, and we can all remember when they were double digit.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
when I moved
Mortgage
to Tulsa,
rates.
it was 13.25.
Right, our
right.
first house
right.
was that.
Yeah.
And they were up in the high teens, maybe 20s at one point before that. So it's all relative.
And we'll see, because it's funny. You grind along for days and nothing changes. Then, like today, the granite will go in, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I'm almost there. So we'll see.
It could go quickly. It can.
All right. Chuck, thanks very much.
Thank
Great
you.
to see you
Appreciate it.
guys.
Yeah.
You too.
And
You
if you
too.
like this, hit the like button and subscribe to our podcast. We love giving you all this information.
Yep. All different things.
Bring some clients by, Michelle.
Oh, I'm already thinking. I'm already thinking.
The wheels are turning.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed our podcast, and thank you for spending your time with us. We'll see you next time for another episode of Let's Talk.